Good morning, everyone. We are going to work on health. The topic for today is resolving conflicts. It's the last lesson for this chapter. Okay. All right. There are some words that you will need to go over. You need to find these words in the dictionary, or actually just copy the definitions from this book. Okay. The words are conflict, prejudice, tolerance, compromise, negotiation, peer mediation, violence, and gang. All right, so I'm not gonna get into each of these words right now because they are defined during the lesson. All right, so we have been talking about peer pressure. We have been talking about the consequences of our acts, and, and the things that we have to do sometimes may be, wrong. I mean, what we do sometimes is wrong, and sometimes we are pressured by our peers, right? So we have to be smart enough to say no um, when the situation requires to do so. All right. So sometimes we have to put in practice the stop strategy. Remember. All right. So what are conflicts? It says, "Give the bag to me. It's mine." The twins Jenny was babysitting were at it again. It seemed they couldn't go more than a few minutes without arguing. Luckily, Jenny had learned about conflicts in health class. Conflicts are disagreements in ideas, beliefs, or interests. The first step in preventing conflict is understanding what causes them. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand what a conflict is. So a conflict is any disagreement that you may have with someone else. Disagreement in ideas or in what you believe or in interest. Um, there was a conflict, for example, for the science fair. One of the groups, they couldn't come to an agreement because some people wanted to do something and some people wanted to do something different, right? So they couldn't come to an agreement. So they disagree in pretty much everything, and they disagree pretty much in ideas, I would say. Okay, so that created a conflict between the members of the group. All right, good. It says, when conflicts arises, it's no game. What are some healthy ways to resolve conflicts? We are going to know. But first, we are going to know the causes. All right. When you understand the possible causes of conflict, you can develop positive communication strategies for preventing conflict. Most conflicts can be traced back to an act or event. A difference of opinion or jealousy can create a conflict. For example, a group of students working on a school project might disagree over the jobs each person should do. Sometimes conflicts are started because of prejudice. Prejudice is an opinion or fear formed without having facts or first-hand knowledge. Disliking a person because of his or her skin color or culture is an example of prejudice. Prejudice can cause both emotional and social health risks within a community. All right, so and there are two things very important over here that what can create a conflict? Well, a difference of opinion. Um, I'm gonna go back to the example of the science fair. You were supposed to work on a project, but there was a difference of opinion. Some people had these ideas, and some people had those ideas. All right, and jealousy can also create conflict. Let's say Lauren is a very close friend um, to Suleika. So then Suleika she starts um, becoming real close friends with Emilio, for example. So Lauren can feel a little bit jealous. So this can create conflict. Okay. All right. When, like I said before, when it comes to working in groups, especially in a project, you know, all the members may disagree over the things that they have to do because they may like, and that happened. Uh, Going back to the example of the science fair, that happened when some people were saying, "Oh, Mr. But some people are not doing anything, so they are supposed to bring some ideas, and they are not doing anything. They're not watching videos to come up with their ideas or anything." So that can create conflict as well. Prejudice is something that can create conflict. How? Um, well, we need to understand what prejudice is first. Okay. This is actually a word that we studied in reading class. Okay, so it's an opinion. Sometimes it's a fear. Okay, formed without knowing something or knowing the real facts. I want to say, like when you dislike a person just because this person has a different culture or even a different color, skin color, and that is prejudice. Why? Because we don't really know that person, and we are just judging that person because of his or her culture or his or her skin color. All right. And I gave an example yesterday for the reading class. Let's say a new classmate is coming to sixth grade, right? A new person is coming, and that person may have trouble fitting in. Okay, and some of you may have prejudice, like saying, "Oh, look at her or look at him. He looks like I don't like him because he doesn't look good or stuff like that, or I don't like that person because this person comes from San Pedro or comes um, from Yoro, from that is prejudice. Why? Because you are judging a person without even knowing that person. Okay. All right. And preventing conflicts. How can we prevent conflict? The first step in preventing conflict is using good communication skills. When you disagree with someone, state your case clearly and calmly. Use I statements that do not accuse or blame. An example of an I statement is, "I feel like I am being left out of the group." Compare this with the more aggressive, "You are ignoring me." Okay, I'm gonna stop here because sometimes we have to use the I statement because when we are angry, when we are facing a conflict, what we do is we um, accuse the other person, okay, or the other people, and we start saying like, "You are doing this, you are doing that," okay. But the right thing to do is to use the I statement. I feel this way, I feel that way, okay, instead of saying "you are," because saying "you are" or "you do," you know using that "you" is accusing the other person, and is a more aggressive form to deal with this with the conflict. Another valuable tool in preventing conflicts is tolerance. Tolerance is the ability to accept other people as they are. Accepting people who are different from you can help you build and maintain positive interpersonal relationships. Absolutely. Tolerance is actually a value that we all have to put in practice. Why? Because we have to respect. Tolerance is all about respect, right? And they're very related. Why? Because if you respect, you have tolerance. Okay? And when you accept people the way they are, you have tolerance. Okay. uh, that includes, like, for example, accept other people's ideas, um, other people's personality, and so on. I mean, w- we are supposed to accept how each person is, okay, the way each person is. That is called tolerance. Okay, resolving conflicts. When a conflict occurs, conflict resolution skills can help you resolve it in a positive way. One skill is knowing when to walk away. Sometimes the right response to a possible conflict is no response. Often the disagreement will end quickly if you walk away. All right, so sometimes we just need to walk away, and we just, we just have to be quiet. Sometimes that's the better way to resolve a conflict. but not saying anything. All right. So when someone is shouting at you, screaming at you, and accusing you, or sometimes the best thing to do is just to stay quiet, calm, and walk away. So that will allow the conflict to end quickly. Okay, because when you respond, what happens is that you are allowing the other person to continue with the conflict. But if you just stay quiet and you walk away, that person wouldn't have anyone to argue with. That's simple. No matter what the disagreement, refuse to fight. All right. So you should always avoid fighting, guys. Okay. We should always avoid violence. If a conflict appears to be turning physical, just walk away. If someone starts, you are facing a conflict, you are arguing, you are screaming at each other, and suddenly someone wants to hit you, or this conflict turns into a physical fight. All right, just walk away. This does not make you a coward or chicken. It makes you wiser and more mature than the other person. If a conflict is brewing between two other people, don't get in the middle or take sides. If a fight breaks out, don't get between the fighters. Instead, go get help from an adult right away. Okay, sometimes what happens is that when a person wants to start a fight, you are like, um, okay, let's fight, because you don't want to look like a coward or a chicken. But that's actually the wiser thing that you can do. I mean, um, walk away might make you look like a coward, but that's not the case. You're actually a wise person. You're actually a smart person, because you are walking away, and you are showing that you are more mature, okay, than the other person that wants to fight. So the best thing to do when someone wants to get into a fight, a physical fight, you have to walk away. And if there are two people fighting, um, or arguing, we are not supposed to get in the middle or take sides. Like, let's say Emilio and Fernando are arguing, right? They are facing a conflict, and then Lauren will be like, "Yeah, I'm with Emilio because Emilio is right when he's saying this or that," and then Giovanni will say the same, like, "No, I'm with Fernando." We don't have to take sides, all right? We don't have to be in the middle to get in the middle. And if they are fighting, okay, if a fight breaks out, well, we're not supposed to get between the fighters, um, to separate them. Instead, what we have to do is to go get help from someone else, from an adult. If we are at school, we can go to call the principal or the teacher. If we are um, out of the school, we can call any adult, any trusted adult. All right. Reaching a compromise. One important conflict resolution skill is compromise. Compromise is a skill in which each side gives up something in order to reach an agreeable solution. Suppose that you and your friends go to the schoolyard to play soccer. Unfortunately, you arrive at the exact same time as a girl from your class, and you both try to grab the only ball left. Instead of fighting over the ball, however, you reach a compromise. You all join in a game together. Compromise is a great way to resolve conflicts, as long as it does not go against your values. Okay? So, compromise is, guys, you know, you want to reach an agreement. You want to come to an agreement, something that works out for everyone. The example over here clearly states what a compromise is. Let's also say that you really want to use uh, um, I don't know, the one of the computers in the computer lab, right? and let's say Emilio wants to use the main computer because it has internet, and then but when he reaches the computer lab, he sees that Marlon is already there, right, in the computer. So instead starting a fight or arguing or a conflict, they can compromise, right, and find a solution, find something that can works out, that works out for both of them, like working together or taking turns, whatever. Okay, reaching a compromise sometimes requires negotiation. Absolutely. What is negotiation? Negotiation is the process of talking about a conflict and deciding how to reach a compromise. Of course, during a negotiation, the negotiation will lead you to a compromise, right? And so Emilio and Marlon will start negotiating and they will come to an agreement afterwards, okay? The talk strategy is an effective way of resolving conflicts through negotiation. The steps are as follows. And the first one is T stands for take a time out. Wait at least 30 minutes before you talk over the situation. This will give you both of you a chance to calm down and think more clearly. All right. So we have to take some time to think about the facts. A stands for allowed each person to tell his or her side. Each person should have the chance to explain his or her feelings without interruption. Always listen carefully and show respect for the other person. Sometimes when we are arguing or when we are in a conflict, we start screaming and we don't even want let the other people talk or express her or his feelings. So best practice is to let the person speak and express herself or himself without any interruption. Okay, that will show that we show respect for the other person. The L stands for let each person ask questions. Each person should have the chance to question the other. Stay calm and respectful. Also stay focused on one problem. Don't bring up other problems at this time. So when we are facing a conflict, we have the right to ask questions to the other person. Why? Because we want to know the reasons, right? And when we have to stay calm and we have to uh, be respectful as well, okay? And we should always focus on one problem, okay? Just one problem. No, we don't have to talk about previous problems that we had. Like, for example, yeah, and you remember the last year you did that to me, and that's incorrect, unacceptable. And the K stands for keep brainstorming. Try to see the situation from the other person's point of view. Work to find a solution that will satisfy you both. When all else fails, get help from a school counselor, parent, or other adult. An option in some schools is peer mediation. Peer mediation is a process in which a specially trained student listens to both sides of an argument to help the people to reach a solution. So it's like another student is prepared, um, to get in the middle, and but it has to be a trained student. We don't have these in our school. Um, so this trained student is going to listen to each side of this person is going to listen to each person each argument to help them find a solution, of course. All right, when conflicts are not uh, dealt with, they can get out of hand. This in turn can lead to violence. Violence is the use of physical force to harm someone or something. Violence is a growing problem in the United States. It can lead to injury and even death. In some communities, there is gang violence. A gang is a group whose members often use violence or take part in criminal activity. Some teens join gangs because of peer pressure. Many teens who join gangs come from troubled families. They seek a sense of belonging that is missing in their lives. Gang membership is never an answer to life's problems. Belonging to a gang only makes problems worse. Teens in gangs have higher school dropout rate than non-members. They are arrested more often too. Because gangs often use weapons, these teens have a higher risk of getting seriously injured or of dying. Okay, sometimes everything gets out of hand and it may lead to a violence, right? So violence involves a physical force, okay, that can hurt someone or something. And it can even lead to injury and even death. So we have to be careful and we should always avoid violence. Okay, in some communities, well, like here in Honduras, there is gang violence, right? So gang is this group of people who usually take part in criminal activities like um, uh, murder, many different things. And um, many different criminal activities that I don't remember most of them right now, but you know what a criminal activity is, right? So we have like la Mara 18, La Salvatrucha, those are gangs, right? So criminal organizations. Some teens join gangs because they are trying to find what they don't have at home. Okay, they feel like they are missing something in their lives, like probably they don't have like a very good communication with their parents, so they try to find this in a gang, but that's not the solution. That's not what we are supposed to do. This is a very risky behavior, and it may lead to many different problems. So we can, if you join a gang, you can even die, or you can get arrested. You can, many different things that are really, really hard to face may happen to you. Avoiding violence. There may be times when conflicts or violence finds you. For example, someone may try to bully you or pull you into a fight. Fortunately, there are techniques for avoiding threatening situations. For starters, learn and practice self control. Do not fight or threaten others. Don't wear any clothing that could be mistaken for gang clothing. If you use a purse, carry it with the strap across your chest. Whenever you can, steer clear of harmful situations. Um, if you know a party might include alcohol or drugs, don't go. If you know a suspect someone has a weapon, report it immediately to a parent or another trusted adult. Avoid violence by becoming an advocate for peace. Let others know you are a nonviolent person. Serve as a positive example. And use good communication skills. Being polite and showing respect for others are also good ways to avoid violence. All right, so these are some techniques that we can put in practice to avoid violence and threatening situations. Okay, and something that calls my attention is this that says don't wear any clothing that could be mistaken for gang clothing. So I know some boys, they like to dress up like, they use a particular type of clothes. And so what happens is that people can, you know, get a little bit confused. Oh, some members of other gangs may be confused, and that can be mistaken. And they may think that you belong to a gang while you don't belong to a gang. But depending on the clothes that you wear, some people may think that. So that can put you in trouble. Okay. All right. So, and some others over here, protecting yourself from violence. Observing safety rules is another way of protecting yourself from violence. If you're home alone, do not open the door to anyone you don't know. We already know this, right? Keep doors and windows locked. Never tell visitors or callers you are alone. That would be very stupid, by the way. Instead, say your parents are busy or can't come to the phone. If you're going out, tell your family where you are going and how you will get there. Make sure they Also know when you expect to return. When walking home, try to walk in pairs or with a group. Stay in familiar neighborhoods. Avoid deserted streets and dangerous shortcuts. Avoid strangers. Never get into or go near strangers' car or hitchhike. Do not enter a building with a stranger. Don't agree to run errands or do other tasks for strangers. Finally, if someone tries to grab you, scream and run away. Go to the nearest place with people. Ask them to call 911 or your parents. Okay, so these are the things that you can do um, to protect yourself, right, from violence. All right, lesson 5 review, guys. This is very simple. Vocabulary, use prejudice and tolerance in a sentence. Very simple. And number 2, name 2 ways in which you can help prevent conflicts from occurring. Number 3, recall, when should you not be willing to compromise? Um, Number 4, thinking critically, evaluate. When Seth walks away from a fight, he hears his bully call him chicken. What should Seth do? Explain. In a conflict, why is it important to understand how the other person feels? How can conflicts be settled? With respect to the feelings of others. Okay, you're going to work until number 5, guys, but you are not going to do this in the notebook. I will put this in Google Classroom so you can answer those questions in there. Okay, so don't worry about copying this in the notebook because you don't have to. All right, so this is pretty much everything. I am going to stop recording this video and I hope you guys like it. Bye bye.